Hey, what's up, everybody? Thanks for tuning in. Today, we are talking about what every student needs to know at CCP, what every student needs to know. A lot of times you're in college and you know what? You're just trying to figure it out. And sometimes it gets very confusing. Sometimes the information isn't always clear. And sometimes the classes themselves are very difficult, especially if you're the first person in your family to be able to go to college and do these different things. Sometimes it's very tough to understand what information do I need to know? How do I grasp that information? How do I study? How do I navigate through all those different things? So today we're going to be talking about what every student needs to know. So let's dive in. Yo, what do I need to know? My name's Lavelle. I'm in the counseling center. Let's do it. Let's dive in. All right. So in thinking about what we're going to talk about today, we're going to learn how to unlock all the different resources that CCP offers, right? Tons of different resources, from whether it be the counseling center, whether it be the learning labs, whether it means getting tutoring help, whether it means how to reach out to your professors. We're going to talk about all those different things today and about why they're very, very, very important. The next thing we're going to talk about is, all right, so I have this plan, right? I have this plan. I got this schedule. I know everything that I need to know. I know I need to be in class at 9:40. So I know I need to get up around 8 o'clock, 7:45, 7:50. I know I need to be on SEPTA, or I need to catch my lift by 8:30, 9 o'clock, depending on how far I live and things like that. We're going to map out how you should potentially set up your schedule for success. The next thing we're going to talk about is, all right, how do I balance my time? How do I balance my time between my life responsibilities? How do I balance my time between my kids, if I have kids? How do I balance my time between my family? How do I balance time between, my homies on the block, my people in my community, my people around me? How do I spend time, with my significant other, the people that I love? How do I balance all these different things? We're going to talk about some different things that's going to help you not just work hard. We're going to teach you how to work smarter. And we want to do all of this so that you, nobody else, so that you can become your own advisor. That's what we want you to do. We want you to be able to become your own advisor. You see it right there. That way, you can look over the information and best make determinations for yourself about how you want to proceed. You're having trouble with some things. You say, you know what? I already know where to go. I already know how to handle that. I've learned it. I've studied it. I've stayed on top of it. I know how to do it. So the first thing I want you to do is, okay, guess what? Just chill, relax, everybody kick back. It's going to be all right. Let's do a quick what do you know? All right. So the first thing I want you to do is I want you to scan this QR code right here. Let's see if you can scan that QR code right there. All right. You're going to scan that QR code. Okay. Yep. Yep. Scan it. Take your time. Take your time. Take your time. Scan the QR code. If you don't have your phone on you, or if you're on your phone right now on this call, right? Inside of the chat, inside of the Zoom chat, there's a link that's going to take you right to that survey. So either way, if you can't click on the QR code, almost forgot the name. That's how you know I'm getting much older, right? If you can't click on the QR code, you can click the link inside of the chat, and that will take you right to the survey. On the survey, I'm asking a couple of different questions, right? Because I want to be able to gauge what you know. I want to be able to gauge what questions you have. I want to be able to gauge how you want this to go. I want to be able to gauge what are some different things we can do on our end, as staff, as faculty, all those different things to be able to help you. So, the first question is going to ask you, right? The first question is going to ask you is, what are the areas where you feel confident versus where you need a little bit of support, right? So you say, you know what, Lavelle, I'm really confident with figuring out where my schedule is. I'm really confident in some of my English courses, but you know what? Yeah, I like to write, but I've never written a college paper before, right? So yeah, I like to write, but I haven't written a college paper before. Or yeah, I like math as it relates to money, right? Yeah, I like math as it relates to money, but I don't like math necessarily as it relates to algebra and things like that. So, answer that question, right? Where do you feel like you need more support? Do you feel like you need more support as it relates to tutoring in a learning lab? Do you feel like you need some more support as it relates to, interactions with your professors? Are are you like, you know what? I feel like I got this. I feel like there's some small pieces of information, that I need to learn, but all in all, I feel like I got this. All right. So let's see. Let's see. What are the areas where you feel confident versus where you need more support? Right. And again, if you don't have the QR code, if you're not able to, scan the QR code, look into the chat box and you'll be able to see the link right there. Okay. So let's try to figure it out. Where do you need more support? The next question is going to ask you, all right, so, what's one thing you wish you knew more about at CCP? What's one thing you wish you knew more about, right? Is it tutoring? And I always use tutoring as the example because I remember back in school and, I went to Martin Luther King High School. I had a 1.7 GPA in high school. I was just a piss poor student across the board throughout the duration of most of my life. I mean, I was a terrible student. It wasn't until I turned 18 that I decided, you know what? I need to jump on this. I need to take advantage of these opportunities. I need to stop playing around. And I said that to myself mainly because I was getting a little bit older, right? I'm 17, I'm 18 years old. And I'm like, man, I have to figure out what I want to do with my life. And most importantly, I got to start to take life a little bit more serious. So, what are some different things? What's one thing you wish that you knew more about at CCP, right? Is it tutoring? Is it resources with, financial support? Hey, look, I need money to be able to catch the bus. Is it, hey, I need some money to use Lyft? Or, hey, you know what? I'm having trouble, maintaining my classes and taking care of my kids. Or, you know what? I'm running into a lot of issues with, my baby mom, the mother of my kids. I'm having trouble with all these different things, right? I need to talk to someone to be able to help me navigate through it. So, what's one thing you wish you knew more about at CCP, right? What's one thing? The next thing, have you ever created a weekly schedule using your syllabus before? Right. So think about that syllabus, right? And for those that don't know, the syllabus, I always like to say, it's probably the most important piece of information that you're going to get during any college class you ever take. At the beginning of the semester, they give you this document. And on this document is basically every assignment, every deadline, every due date. This syllabus has even the attendance policy. I know there's a couple people that like to miss class every once in a while. People got a lot going on. I get it. There's people that have to miss class, right? Sometimes in the syllabus, they tell you how many classes you can actually miss, right? So there's tons of helpful information inside of the syllabus. So, it's the first day of class and the professor hands you the syllabus. Or, what? Sometimes they don't hand it anymore. Now they have it on Canvas, right? Or some people pronounce it as Canva, right? So if they, one of the first things I'd want to do is I'd want to go on Canvas. I'd want to click that syllabus link and I want to figure out where can I find the syllabus for my class, because that syllabus is going to have all the information you need in order to be able to make a determination about, all right, I see this class has 50 homework assignments over the next 7 weeks. Yeah, that might be too much. Just figuring out, how my personal life is and things like that. I may not be able to successfully navigate through that class. So looking at the syllabus, right? Looking at the syllabus will help you figure out that information. But you got to look at the syllabus, right? You got to know what that document is that they're handing to you or that they're asking you to access when you get home or when you get in front of your personal device. The other thing too is, so a lot of times with that syllabus, students all the times would tell me, look, Lavelle, I don't have a computer, right? So everybody, hey, listen very, very closely. Come close. Listen, listen. Listen, all right. So at CCP, we got this program. It's called PC for Peoples. And this program will essentially, for $25 to $50, if you're in need of a laptop will be provided for you. The office to get in contact with that for more information about that program is the Office of Financial Aid. But you want to go to them and you want to ask for more information about the PC for People's programs. They offer you a subsidized laptop. A subsidized means anything at a assisted or lower cost, right? So you pay 25, $50 and you'll have a laptop. I would never recommend ever when you're doing your schoolwork or anything like that, if you don't have to, if you don't have to. I would never recommend ever that you do your work on your phone. Your phone is your personal handheld device. I use my phone. My phone is, is my phone, right? It's not my laptop, it's my phone. This is called the personal handheld device. Your laptop is something completely different. There's things on my phone, right? There's things on my phone that are completely different than how it would look online, right? So if I pull up Canvas on my phone, it's going to look completely different than Canvas on a laptop. So you want to use your laptop for just about everything, any and everything. Get the laptop, get a Chromebook, $100, $200. If you're getting a refund check, utilizing financial aid, use some of that refund check to be able to get you a laptop. It's going to make things much easier for you as you kind of navigate through. The other question we're going to be asking, what personal habits do you think what personal habits do you think, not what your mom thinks, not what grandma thinks, your dad thinks, your brother thinks, your sister thinks, not what your cousin thinks, your professor thinks, people on the block think, none of that. What personal habits do you think? Not what personal habits anybody else think, right? Right? This ain't about them, right? What personal habits do you think is actually holding you back from being able to make the most of your academics? So at the end of the semester, and you see that things aren't going well, you got a grade, you haven't been able to get through that 098, that 101, you haven't been able to get through maybe that 097, that 190, you haven't been able to get through that English 101, that English 102, or let's say you're struggling with psychology 101, or you're struggling with FYE 101. When you think about, and you're not just struggling, let's say you get an F in those courses, right? So when you get an F in those courses and you look back on what you did in those courses, what things do you think you can potentially change? When you think about the grades that you get, what things about you do you think you can change about you? Right? So, you got some students that'll be like, hey, Lavelle, you know what? To be completely honest, I was on some lazy-ish, right? I wasn't being as proactive as I needed to be, right? I didn't go to class. I didn't turn in assignments. For real, I didn't show up on time, right? So, when you're thinking about all those personal habits that are kind of getting your way, what are they? Right? Because if it's a matter of, hey, I couldn't find the assignment on Canvas, or you know what, I had trouble with this, or I had trouble with that, let's eliminate those barriers so we can put you in a position to be successful. But if you feel like you're not holding up effort on your end, that's a completely different conversation that needs to happen, right? And we're going to get to that a little bit later. I call that the power of self-reflection. Sometimes you got to look in the mirror. Sometimes you got to look in the mirror and start to figure out what about me needs to change in order for me to be able to be successful. The other question we're going to ask, right? The other question we're going to ask is what study habits, let's bring myself down. What study habits do you struggle most with? So, let's say, you're studying, right? Are you having trouble remembering the information? Are you having trouble figuring out how to take notes? Because taking notes is a skill itself. Sometimes we think, all right, I could just take notes a little bit. I'll be cool, jot some stuff down, blah, 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 all right, let me jot some stuff down. Okay, cool, cool, cool. But then you look at your notes. But then you look at your notes and they all jibber jabbish, they're all over the place and things like that. So, how are you taking notes too? Start to think about how you're taking notes. The other thing, a lot of times, so I don't know about you, but for me, seeing it is believing it. I need to see it in order to be able to believe it. It doesn't help me just to listen to my professor talk. I need to look at the PowerPoint. I need to create visuals. I need to jot down, some good notes. I need to do all those different things. I need to be able to see it. I need to be able to visualize it. I need to be able to watch a video on it. I need to be able to do all those different things. But sometimes when I'm not learning from a visual standpoint, so look, keep game. Everybody learns differently. I know it's crazy, right? Because K through 12, probably nobody has ever told you this, but everybody learns differently. How I learn isn't how you learn. Some people are the type of learners, they need to be able to hear it. So when they hear Kendrick, rapping "Not Like Us," right? Right? When they hear me rapping championships or anything like that, they're able to connect with it. Have you ever realized how, Megan, the Stallion, or Cardi B, all them, if they got a song, you can remember every word. So similar for your schoolwork, when you're studying, try to put it into a rap, try to put it into something where, you know what, you can listen to it. Come on, that's free game. Put it on in an audio music standpoint. I remember being back in college, I used to rap my notes, right? Now, that helped, right? But then I realized, hey, rapping isn't enough. I need it to be a combination of different things that I need to do in order to be able to, make it happen. So I wouldn't just use the PowerPoints and the visuals. I wouldn't just use the audio. I would get on YouTube, right? And I would watch cartoons about the materials. If you're struggling with writing, there's cartoons and different things that will show you how to write from not necessarily a cartoon standpoint, but from an animation standpoint. From an animation standpoint, if you're having trouble, and your math professor is just, on the board, putting the prime problems and assignments, and you're having trouble tracking it, you're having trouble making sense of it. And I'm sorry, I get passionate about these different things because I want you to be able to be successful. So if your professor's just doodling and you're not really making sense of it, go on YouTube and supplement that information. There's millions of videos on YouTube that will teach you how to successfully navigate through algebra. But the key thing, the most difficult thing is not everyone is going to tell you that. Not everyone's going to tell you, hey, Mike, hey, John, hey, Sarah, hey, Khadijah, hey, Susan, hey, Kiera, hey, Tatiana, all those different things. Nobody's going to tell you how to do these different things. Some things are kind of like unwritten. There's rules, but there's not rules that are kind of, like widely spoke about, right? You want to figure out what are the rules and the things that are making people be successful that I can utilize, that I can do, that I can, they always say the best way to be successful is to emulate those that are successful and do exactly that. So start to figure out what study habit do you struggle with the most? Is it, like, hey, when I'm studying, I get sleepy, right? Like how many of y'all get sleepy when you're studying, right? Quite a few people, right? I see some head nods and things like that. Like people get sleepy when they study, and you may think, oh, that's it's just on me, right? But there's lots of people who struggle with those different things. I'll always encourage you to take your 15, 20-minute nap, rest yourself, get up from that 15, 20-minute nap. You see, I ain't say 2 hours. Get up from that 15, 20-minute nap, and then jump on your schoolwork. Reward yourself with the nap, but then jump on your schoolwork right afterwards. That way, essentially you're getting two birds with one stone. So make it happen. All right. Let's go down to the results a little bit. Responses. I got this versus I need help. Let's see where we at. The majority of people say I need help balancing home and school. That's tough, right? That's really tough. Mainly because, yeah, home gets tough. School gets tough. I mean, how many people got some stuff going on at home? Everybody, right? Raise your hand. How many people got stuff going on at home? How many people got stuff going on at school? How many people got stuff going on with their significant others, with their kids and things like that? It gets tough being able to balance time. The key thing you got to figure out on your end are two different things. You got to figure out where the help is, and you got to figure out how to get to the help. And there's actually another thing. You got to figure out, despite these obstacles that I'm facing, despite all these different things, right? How can I still push past it? Even though I'm going through a lot of stuff, right? Even though I got a lot going on, right? I can remember being back in college, my mom died. I mean, it broke my heart. Still, it broke my heart. How do you try to find a way to find the support that you need, the help that you need, the love that you need, the nourishment that you need? How do you find people that are going to champion you? Think about it. If the college is saying we got a lot of resources here that are able to help you, that are willing to work with you navigate through these different obstacles and circumstances and situations, how do you find a way to make sure you're getting the help that you need to put yourself in a position to be able to navigate past? And how do you make sure you're putting yourself in a position to also be able to take care of you? You're on a college campus, you got tons of people that are willing to be your mentor. You have tons of people that are willing to help you develop personally, as a human, as a friend, as a son, as a daughter, all facets. You have people that want to help you. How are you making sure that you're getting the help? The next response, let's take a look. The next response, I need help managing my time, right? I need help managing my time, right? Your time is the most important thing, mainly because you can't get it back, right? I don't know about you, but everybody loves to say, you know what? I don't like wasting my, right? Say it with me. Say it with me. I don't like wasting my. Nobody ever likes wasting their time, right? How do you figure out how to manage your time? Because like when you're in college, you're gonna have lots of assignments, lots of due dates, lots of deadlines. How, if I got four classes, if I have four classes, if I have two classes, I know pretty much I'm gonna have assignments due probably every Sunday or so, 11:59 at night. That's how it was back in the day for me. We had assignments due at 11:59 at night, probably just about like every Sunday, right? So every day I'm on campus. Every day I'm checking assignments. Every day I'm figuring out what's due for the next week. But the thing that you got to do is you got to get a calendar. You got to get a large calendar, right? Large, get the help, right? Get the help. Get the calendar. Try to balance, right? It takes balance. It takes help sometimes in understanding what I need to do in order to be able to make it happen. Figure out how to balance your time. Get a calendar on your iPhones. If you got iPhones or Androids, or you got the Google Pixel. I know, shout out to Google Pixel. We got some people with Google Pixel, I'm sure. They say they got a better camera on Google Pixel than iPhone, right? That's up for debate, right? Let's say I am on my calendar, right? On my calendar, with everything organized, right? With everything organized right there. How are you putting things on your calendar to make sure you're getting the alerts that you need? How are you doing those different things? Those are all things that need to be done. If you want to be successful, you got to utilize the tools around you, right? Someone said, I don't need help. I just need to buckle down. Shout out to you. Sometimes that happens. Sometimes we just need to buckle down, right? Sometimes we need to buckle down and we need to handle business, right? Sometimes we need to handle business, right? Sometimes we need to do the right thing, right? Spike Lee said it best. Y'all might be a little young for Spike Lee. Spike Lee said, do the right thing, right? Sometimes that's what we got to do. We talked about all those different things and we talked about, and everybody, I know this gets heavy, right? I know this gets heavy, right? Work with me, work with me. I know it gets heavy, right? I know it does. I know. But check it out. I want everybody to just take a deep breath. I just want you to take a deep breath, right? Take a deep, 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 deep breath. Okay? When was the last time you took a deep breath? Think about it. Everybody, you can open up your eyes now. When was the last time you took a deep breath? One more time. I want you to take a deep breath with me on a count of three. If you feel comfortable enough to be able to close your eyes, please close your eyes and take a deep breath with me. 1, 2, 3. Right? How did that feel? Right? Getting all that stress, all that tension, all that anxiety just out of you. Sometimes we have to take a deep breath. But the other thing we got to do sometimes is we got to look in the mirror and we got to figure out what it is that we need to do on our end. Sometimes it doesn't hurt just to sit and think. Sometimes it doesn't hurt to look in the mirror. You're with me, right? You're with me, right? Sometimes it doesn't help to just sit by yourself and think, right? Sometimes it doesn't hurt to do those different things. Sometimes it also doesn't hurt to make a friend, right? Let me see if I can change that font. There you go. All right. Sometimes it doesn't hurt to make a friend. Sometimes you need to be able to make friends to be able to navigate through this journey. Sometimes it gets really, really tough, right? Sometimes you got to open up books and go on a journey, right? Right? Sometimes you got to make friends, y'all. Don't feel like you got to do this alone. You know, sometimes if you're from Philly, you know that growing up in Philly, there's a certain hardness that you need to have. You just got to be on go, right? And sometimes for some people, they have a legitimate reason, right? They got things they're looking out for. Some people would say, ops and all those different things, right? I get it, but think about it from this standpoint. How are you still being reflective enough? How are you still thinking about what you need to do in order to be able to make friends? Basically, what I'm saying is, how are you making friends? Because there's some friends that you'll make that are going to help you propel to the next level. Sometimes it's not who we are, sometimes it's who we're hanging with. Let me make it bigger. Hold on. Sometimes it's not who we are, it's who we're hanging with. Sometimes the crowds that you're hanging with aren't conducive for you getting to where you need to be at. Think about your circle. Think about your team. Think about the people you have in your corner and in your life, because some of those people aren't helping you. Some of them may actually be deterring you from getting to where you need to be. And the only way for you to be able to recognize that and see that is to reflect, to look in the mirror, to sit and think, to sit by yourself, and most importantly, to make friends that may be different from some of the friends that you've had before, right? Making friends with people that are different. Making friends, with people that may not, navigate through life a certain way. But what that does is it opens up your perspective. So make a friend, right? Make a friend. Make a good friend. And remember this, in order to be a friend, you must first be friendly. So, take that, and kind of run with it. Be friendly. Be nice. Be kind. It doesn't hurt to smile at people you don't know. Say hello. Say hey. Say what's up. It's all right. Right? One of the things you do is you'll find out that um, the majority of people, they wanna make friends, right? They want to do all those different things. So those things are really, really important. All right. So the next thing we're going to be looking into, right? The next response, question number 2, is what do students wish they knew more about at CCP? What do they wish they knew more about at CCP? All right, so let's see where we let how to apply for scholarships and grants. Yeah, that's a big one. That's a big one. We're going to dive into that a little bit later. We're going to dive into that a little bit later. But hey, I want to tell you just before we get away from it, everything that you need once you log into your MyCCP portal is under student services. So log into your ccp.edu, log into your account, click on student services. There's going to be an option. It's going to say scholarships. Click that link. One scholarship application covers 200 scholarships that we have here, and we have emergency funding. If you're having trouble with housing, if you're having trouble with food, if you're having trouble with transportation and all those different things, apply for the help that you need. Don't just suffer alone. It is too difficult to be able to navigate through it alone. If there's nothing you get from anything today, I want you to remember that it is important to get the help that you need. Then it's important to take the help, apply, and then not just take it, but you have to apply it. Take it and apply it. Whatever that help is being given to you, whatever free game is being given to you. Hey, my man, this is how you navigate through this. This is how you work through it this way. This is how you do this. This is how you do that. Apply it. Don't just take it and say, yeah, 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 cool. Thanks, LaBelle. I got you. I got you. I got you. Apply the information. All right. The next thing, where to get the tutoring and academic help that you need. Hey, I don't know if you've been, but check out the library. They just renovated. They spend a lot of money on it. Check out the library. The library is new. It's improved. It's bright. It's well lit. It's a beautiful library. One of the best libraries I've seen. They've really put their money where their mouth is with the library. Inside of the library, they also have tutoring help. It's called the Learning Lab. All you got to do is go to just Google. Google this right here. I'm writing it down. Google. Free game, y'all. Free game. CCP tutoring. Boom. Click that first link. Right? Click that first link. On that first link of CCP tutoring, right? That first, second link, it's going to show you all the classes that we have tutoring for. And for a fair amount of them, the majority of those introduction classes that you're going to be taking, we have tutoring for. So get the help that you need. You know, in terms of managing time, we talked about that a little bit earlier. Get the calendar. Get the calendar. If you get nothing else from me today, get the help, apply the help, and get the calendar. Right? Who to talk to for career advice, jobs, internships, and things like that. Look, if you're on academic probation, you know, if you're a transfer student and things like that, come to the counseling center. We'll point you in the right direction. We'll have those conversations with you. But again, once we have those conversations and we lead you to that path, or we help direct you to that path, then take that information and do your own homework. Get your own information, your own insight. That way you can make informed decisions about it. The other thing, how to make friends, right? We talked about that a little bit earlier, and how to handle stress and anxiety. Sometimes life gets heavy, right? We talked earlier about scholarships. We talked about all those different things. Everything you need is going to be under this portal right there. Boom. Click that. Student services. Student services. Hey, one other thing. You may be trying to figure out, you know, I keep getting all these emails from financial aid, or I keep getting all these emails from this person, that person. I don't even know how to check my email, right? This is how you check your email. You can check your email right here, but you can also get your email on your phone. Get on your iPhone, right? Get on your iPhone, right? Go to settings. Go to settings on your iPhone. If you have an iPhone, you've got an Android, or like we talked about, if you got the Google Pixel, get on your phone and add your email, right? Your email is always going to be, hold on, let me write it out. Let me see. Give me 1 second. It's always going to be student. Let me charge up my laptop before it dies. Give me 1 second, y'all. Don't try to do a presentation on 8%. Not going to be good. Give me 1 second. Let me charge this up. Right? But you got to remember, we're all human too, right? We all make mistakes. It's all about being able to bounce back. So even if it's as something as simple as not charging your laptop, give yourself grace, give yourself mercy, and always figure out how you're going to bounce back. Just don't stay defeated. All right. So let me give you an example of what your email is going to be like. Your email might be like, let me get a name. Let me think of a name. Joel Embiid. Right. Hopefully I'm not spelling it wrong. Joel Embiid. Well, no, because here we go. All right. Sometimes the emails are like this, right? 2, 3, whatever your username is. I mean, that's not a good example. Let me go username at student.ccp.edu. Put that into your phone, right? Right? Put your username in it, and then put at student.ccp.edu into the email. That way you can have email on your phone. That way you're not missing any emails. You ain't got to worry about missing out on financial aid emails, about missing documentation, all those different things. You don't have to worry about it. Get your email on your phone. That's probably one of the most important things, because think about how much information is missed because you're not looking at it. Think about how much information and communications is missed from your professors, right? So get the email on your phone. That's a really important piece. Get the email on your phone. All right. You may think that you're going to get emails via your old Gmail account. Your professors, they're not going to be emailing your Gmail account, right? You know, financial aid, when they're reaching out to you, they're not going to be emailing your personal account, mainly because there's no way to verify if that's you. right? When there's federal laws and things like that that go into it, that make it really difficult for anybody that works at any type of college or university to email your personal account, because that's not the primary form of communication. Your CCP email is where all your CCP business is at. So get the CCP email on your phone. All right. The next thing, student services. Student services is where you're going to find everything. How to register for classes, how to figure out, if you're, looking to change name, that you have a preferred name, all those different things. Everything's going to be right there. You need to do a transcript evaluation request. Everything's right there. You need to do a document submission with financial aid. Everything's right there. Hey, Lavelle, I need to figure out what are all the classes I need to be able to graduate and finish up. Hey, guess what you got to do? Click on student services, because everything is going to be right there. Everything that you need, that you're looking for, is going to be under student services. So definitely, definitely, definitely tap into student services. Play around with it. The other thing, you're taking an online class and you're trying to figure out, where do I go? What do I do? Hey, look, Canvas right there. You should be logging into your Canvas every day. Every day. Every day you should be logging into your Canvas. Your Canvas is where all your assignments, all your due dates, all your deadlines, all your classes are going to be at. All your assignments, everything's going to be in Canvas. So become very familiar, become very comfortable with Canvas. All right, let's keep scrolling. Let's keep scrolling. Let's see. Question number 3. Have you ever created a schedule using your syllabus? Let's see. Let's see. Couple people. Yes, I use my syllabus to plan regularly. Shout out to you. Shout out to you. Shout out to you. Shout out to you. Shout out to you, because all the information, all the due dates, all the deadlines, everything that you need is going to be inside of your syllabus. And guess what? Guess what? Guess where your syllabus is at? On your Canvas, right? It's on your Canvas. If you don't have your syllabus, ask your professor. But odds are you have access to your syllabus. Find it, search for it. A lot of times when we're on these websites, we feel like we're going to break something. Click through that. Click through that. You're not going to break nothing because you clicked on something. The only way for you to be able to figure out how to navigate through that stuff is to click on it. So click on it and get lost. And I promise you, we're wrapping up. We're close to being done. Hold tight with me. Hold tight with me. Your syllabus has all your information. Okay. No, I've never used my syllabus to create a schedule. Look, grab that calendar. Grab that calendar. The dollar store got calendars. Dollar Tree, Dollar General, they got calendars. Get a calendar. Put all your assignments, all your due dates, all your deadlines on it. On it. Put everything that you need on it, everything in your personal life. Stop trying to remember things from the top of your head. Sometimes it's difficult to just remember things off the top, mainly because there's so many different things that are going on in our life. How can I remember everything in my personal life, everything in my professional life, everything in my personal life as it relates to my friends, everything in my personal life as it relates to my wife, everything in my personal life as it relates to my kids? How can I do all those different things and remember them in an efficient, effective manner? It's difficult to. So don't try to do it. Get the calendar. Get the calendar. That's why they got calendars. Get the calendar. Put all your assignments, all your due dates, all your deadlines on it. All right. So we talked a little bit about that calendar, right? This one's a little bit more extreme. This is kind of like a practice one on how you can map your day out if you have class on Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Right. If you got class Monday, Wednesday, Friday, let's say you have class 10:30 to 11:45 on Monday. All right. Let me highlight that. Right. Let me highlight that. Boom, boom, boom. All right. So I got class. Let me make this a little bit bigger. Okay. So let's say I have class, right? I have class 10:30 to 11:45 Monday, Wednesday, Friday. After that, I already know where I'm going. Tuesday, Thursday, let's say I have work, right? You got to get to a point where you're mapping out everything. Tuesday, Thursday. All right. I know, you know, I'm not Tuesday, Thursday. I'm sorry. Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. I already know after class what I'm doing. I'm studying. If I'm already on class, I'm not going to go to the cafe or the dining hall just to chill and be on my phone. Nah, if I'm be on campus, I'm gonna be on campus and handle my business. You know what? Better yet, after my English 101 class, you know where I'm going? To my English 101 tutor in the learning lab. Set it up so that right after class, you go to the tutor. You figure out, hey, you know what? I'm having trouble with that paper. I'm having trouble with that assignment. You can take that to the tutor. Take it to the tutor and get the help that you need in order to be able to do it. Don't just try to navigate through this alone, but you got to have a schedule. You got to be in it to win it. You got to have a game plan, right? You got to have a game plan. Success requires a game plan. Success isn't just something that happens. You let the Instagram people tell you, you let the YouTube people tell you, you let all the people tell you that, got millions of dollars and things like that. They'll have you believe that success just happens. And it doesn't. Success is concrete, small, tangible action steps, right? Tangible, meaning that they're worth something, right? That's the other thing. If you ever don't know a word, Google it. Start taking in all that information. Don't let nothing pass you, right? Start taking small, tangible steps, concrete. Because what happens after you do one thing? One thing becomes a second thing thing becomes a third thing becomes a fourth thing becomes a big thing. Small, big things take small things, right? You don't just get one big thing. It requires you to do 10 different small things to be able to get that one big thing. Handle your business. Your personal habits that are holding you back. Let's take a look. I stay up too late. Look, if I got class at 8 a.m., if I got class at 9:40, it don't do me any good to go to bed at 2, 3 a.m. because I'm playing Mad. Right? It don't do me any good to go to bed 3, 4 o'clock in the morning if I got a 9 a.m., trying to do my hair. It just doesn't make any sense. It's not the most efficient way for me to be able to manage my time. Get the rest that you need. You might not feel like you need 7, 8 hours, but studies have shown that when you get 7, 8 hours, you're able to be more alert. Sometimes in high school, you might have been able to do 5, 6 hours of sleep, 4 hours of sleep, 3 hours of sleep, and be able to push past and navigate through. But you got to remember, this isn't high school anymore. And in high school, your teachers reminded you of everything. In college, they're not, your professors aren't going to remind you of things. They're going to expect a standard from you. Don't stay up too late. Right? I'm on my phone too much. All right. So if I'm on my phone too much, I want you to think about it like this. Is your phone bringing you any money, or is your phone only bringing you a bill? You get that degree, you're going to be able to get that money. You get that degree, you're going to be able to get that money. But if your phone is only bringing you a bill right now, guess what? You at a loss. Your phone actually isn't hurting you, isn't helping you. Your phone is actually hurting you. Don't let your phone hurt you. Instead of having your phone up like this, always being able to see a notification, turn that joint around. Turn it around. Turn that phone around and put it on silent mode. Put it on do not disturb so you're able to get busy. Don't play around with your academics. If you're only on campus for 6 to 8 hours a week for your classes, you can spend another hour each of those days to be able to get the tutoring help that you need, to be able to stay a little bit longer and go to the computer lab so that you can type up your papers or stay on top of your assignments. Don't let personal habits hold you back. Sometimes bad habits are so bad, we don't even know they're bad until it's too late. And the thing about habits that's really crazy is habits are the long word for habits are another word for it is habitual. It's habitual, right? You've heard of a ritual. Habits are habitual. There's something that happened all the time. And sometimes if our habits are bad, we don't know they're bad until it's too late. Depending on where you're at in life on this call, whatever habits you have in your personal life, whatever habits you have in your academic life with CCP, try to figure out what are the bad habits that you have, what are the things about yourself that you don't like, that you know are just not good things. And say, you know what, tomorrow I'm going to try to change that. Try to think about your shortcomings today and say, you know what, tomorrow I'm going to actively cut that in the bud. That's what mom used to say. Mom would say, cut it in the bud. How are you cutting your bad habits in the bud before they get too out of control? before it's too late. Because then when habits become so bad, when they become too late, next thing you know, it's routine. The chains of habit are too heavy to be felt until they're too light to be broken. That means the chains of habit, sometimes they're too heavy to be felt, meaning we've had them on us for too long. They've been so heavy, we've only known them, right? Sometimes people don't know their bad habits until it's too late. Don't let bad habits get you caught up, right? So, if you Jay Murph, shout out to Jay Murph Living Room, DJ YouTube pulled up a random picture, good music, check him out. Um, if you know that you got English 101 and you got a paper due tomorrow, you probably shouldn't be DJing tonight, right? And unless the paper's done, if the paper's done, by all means, do what you got to do. But if you haven't done and held up your end of the bargain, if you haven't handled your business, if you haven't handled your responsibilities, you shouldn't be doing what you're doing. But you have to ask yourself, if you are doing those things, why? If I'm not doing what I need to do, why am I not doing it? And how do I think that that's going to end up in the long run? Right? Study habits you struggle with the most. Somebody said, I don't care. Right? There's moments and times where people don't care. I understand it. I get it. We've all been there. Those things have consequences, though. Because sometimes, even if you don't care, sometimes you still got to care enough to be able to get it done. I get distracted easily. Turn your phone around, turn your phone off, put it on silent mode. Or you know what? I don't stick to a schedule. You got to do it. And if you're not sticking to a schedule, it's going to cost you because life gets so heavy. Sometimes it's difficult to organize and make sense of everything. Sometimes we need a schedule. All right. So we talked about this earlier. Shout out to y'all for sticking with me. I promise y'all we done minus 10 minutes. We're done. We're going to be wrapping up. All right. Minus 10 minutes. You want let me see? 1, 2, 3, 4. All right. Matter of fact, let's do it in 5. How to learn more efficiently. There's different ways to learn. Remember, we talked about it. Some people need to rap it. Some people need it in a music sense. Some people need to see it, right? Seeing it is believing. Sometimes we're visual people, right? Sometimes we need to see it. The other way to learn is sometimes if you got to teach other people, I know it sounds crazy, but if you're struggling in Bio 109, the best way for you to be able to learn Bio 109 is to teach it to somebody else. That's called relational learning, right? Some people call it kicking back. I call it, kickbacks, right? Or teach backs, right? Relational learning. If I'm learning about, an iPhone, right, and I'm learning about everything that's inside of it, all those different things, the one thing I want to do is I want an iPhone, right? If I'm learning about dogs or if I'm learning about Spanish, paddle, paddle meaning dog, well, guess what? I need to see dog and start calling it paddle, 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 hola paddle, right? I need to see it. I need to do it. I need to act it, right? Practical experience. Sometimes you got to live it. Sometimes you got to take practice tests, right? If you're taking anatomy and physiology, one or general bio or English, none of those things are new. APA is not new. MLA is not new. Do practice tests. Look up page formats. Do everything that you need to do on your end ahead of time to be able to come into that class or to be able to navigate through those assignments with a leg up. This information, a lot, that sociology 101 information that you're learning, psychology 101, the cerebrum, right? All those different things. A lot of that information is not new, right? Take practice tests. Don't wait to the last minute. Don't multitask. Try to figure out ways that you can learn in different ways. Most importantly, we talked about this earlier. Don't be afraid to make mistakes. Mistakes happen. They're part of the game, right? But what they say, fool me once, right? Don't fool me twice. Fool me once. Don't keep making the same mistake again. If there's one thing that you're struggling with, that you're having trouble navigating through, I'm having trouble with papers, but I'm not getting the help that I need, all those different things, get the help, right? 1 + 1 is 2. Get the help, right? Right? Coordinate. One, I'm struggling. 2, I need to get tutoring. Put that 1 + 1 together and get the help. 1 + 1 is 2. Don't be afraid of making mistakes. And most importantly, don't make the same mistake. Get the help that you need. I'm in BG07. You can always stop by. Ask for Lavelle. I'm around. All right. Final thing. We're going to be wrapping up. This is your degree path. It's going to have all the classes that you need in order to be able to graduate and finish up. I'm going to put a couple of supplemental videos in the chat that you can use that will show you how to get to this. This will show you all the classes that you need in order to be able to graduate and finish up. Check it out. Check it out. Check it out. Most importantly, y'all, maximize your resources. Plan for success. Don't just plan to be here, plan to knock it out, right? Because you can and you will. Balance school and everything that's going on in your personal life. I know it's hard. I know it's tough. I know it's exhausting. But absolutely try your best, and remember that we're always here to help you in a counseling center. Most importantly, take initiative. Stay on top of it. Don't wait for somebody to give you the answer. Get the answer yourself. Figure out right from the source. Trust but verify. Even if the information is coming from me, fact check me. Trust your own information. Trust what you see. Take initiative to figure it out. Most importantly, stay connected. Find a mentor, find support, find the help that you need. Remember, y'all, in everything that you do, always remember that you can. If you believe that you can, you always will. But if you believe that you can't, you won't. Believe that you can. Train your mind to believe that you can do it. Once your mind begins to believe that you can do it, guess what's going to happen? You're going to do it. Thanks for listening, y'all. I love y'all and I want to see you be successful. Have a great rest of the semester. Have a great day. My name's Lavelle Simpkins. I'm in BG07. Lavelle Simpkins. And here's my email. LSIMPKINS@ccp.edu. Have a great day, everybody. Thank you.